We are literally living our ancestors' dreams. Your voice, your body, your work has done our ancestors so proud.
When you're going towards your goal, you'll get some, crooked paths. You'll get some bumps on the road.
Yeah.
And you still got to keep on going.
It took me a long time to realize that I could ask for help and that I needed to ask for help. And I used to say, I would suffer in silence because that's what I saw.
Yep.
And that's what I learned it was supposed to look like.
I've always been enough, but society has taught me differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want people who are watching this to know that truth for them as well. Who are we if we don't know where we came from? How can we truly formally have an identity?
We had to create our own everything. If I have too much, that means someone doesn't have enough. What you have, we're going to share. What I have, I'm going to share with you.
This is the Real Roots and Resilience podcast.
So I want to take the time as we begin and start to talk about our why, first to do a libation ceremony of honoring our lineage, ancestors known, ancestors unknown, understanding that our hearts, our minds, our bodies were created for a purpose, and we are now living that purpose. That purpose not only is to educate ourselves, to become more aligned, to ascend, but also for the greater good of our communities. We are literally living our ancestors' dreams. Your voice, your body, your work has done our ancestors so proud. Big and small gestures of kindness and love. I want to thank our ancestors for their journeys so we can live, so we can breathe, so we can be safe. We are going to cultivate safety within ourselves and hope that that safety builds and transcends what we're doing to our community. So people around us will be inspired by our brave choice to investigate who we are, so then they can learn who they are, so we can do less harm and learn that love doesn't always have to hurt. We don't always have to struggle. We are born for greatness, and we will live the way we are intended to on this planet. So as I move forward with this libation, I want to give thanks again to the Creator, to our ancestors. I invite all of you to name your ancestors that you would like to share this gratitude with, known and unknown. You could for their first name, their last name, what you know about them. And I will start Lula Mae James, Sheila Adams, John Adams Jr., Hilton, Lula Mae James, Roberta Pittman, Sheila Sanders.
I'm going to say Grace Thomas, Harnell Jones, Kathy Thomas, Mary Sealy, Nina Jones.
Ashe. Ashe. Amen and Ashe. Uncle John. So this is my Uncle John. This is my grandmother on my mom's side's brother, Uncle John. His name was John Adams Jr., John Elliott Adams. Yep, that's my grandmother's brother. He did a lot of things, but he was mostly known because he was a professional drag queen. And he would travel all over the world. His stage name was Glenn Elliott. And my parents made him my godfather. So on my baptismal record, he is who's on there. And I love that because one of the things that I tell people when we talk about, people and their lifestyle differences, for me, I feel like my parents never had to have that conversation about, there are gay people in the world. Because they showed us how you treat people and how it was just kind of normalized. Like, it just so happens this is their significant other. My parents used to go on dates to see him perform. Right? Like, I think that's dope. Like, especially since men sometimes, and I'm not being sexist, but I'm being serious. I know that they don't have the same slack when it comes to certain sexual things. They're worried about, oh, I'm not gay. That's why sometimes when someone would be like, I love you, man, no homo, whatever. But in this case, I feel like my parents set the bar by not only did they go to his shows to support him and for date nights, they made him my godfather, right? That was an intentional thing. And I'm grateful for that. When I was a teenager, one of the first ancestors that I was able to access and see was him. And at first it was so scary. Like, I can't even lie. It was insanely scary. But I think one of the reasons that I was able to stick with understanding that this is just part of the fabric of the way I was built is because also it wasn't made to be weird or a taboo from my parents. It just was. So, yep, Uncle John.
And before we do even all of that, and we do honor all the ancestors have been named, but we have to say, you have to open up the gates.
Yes.
With the oldest of oldest ancestor. Legba Nabalyeya. Legba Nabalyeya. Legba Nabalyeya. C'est où qui porte drapeau, c'est où qu'apparaît soleil pour loyau. C'est où qui porte drapeau, c'est où qu'apparaît soleil pour loyau. Aïe bobo, aïe bobo.
Aïe bobo.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. Amen, amen, amen. Namaste, namaste, Shanti. Shalom.
Ashe.
Andrea Michel Papaluiti, Dessalines, and all those Guedes, the names we don't know.
Yes.
But those who fought for justice, yet their names are not written in history, we remember you.
We are their history, living, embodied.
Continuity, what was, what is, and what will be. The lineage and the memory that survives in the rupture. In Haitian cosmology, the ancestors are not gone. They are folded into us. And so that's what the Marasa holds for us. When we sing Marasa Elu for the ancestors, we're saying, I remember that I'm more than one life. I am the echo, but I'm also the answer. Every ancestor lives twice, once in their body and once through you. Memory is relational. It's not archival. Healing happens when the past and the present sing together. That is why we honor the Ma'asa, because remembrance is not meant to only be grief, but it's life continuing itself.
I'm going to say for Mary Mother Jordan in Louisiana, Eugene Trowers, Bertha Reddix Trowers, Velma Nesbitt, my grandmother, Susie Trowers Nesbitt, who I mentioned, who was my beloved mother, who I feel is watching over us.
She's here.
And is in this room right now. Bertha Trowers, which is my grandmother, my mother's mother. She was an educator. She was someone who was deeply religious and Catholic and from Louisiana. Just beautiful inside and out. And you all represent this, what I was raised around, strong women. And I appreciate and love you all.
Thank you. We love you too.
My paternal grandparents, this is my grandmother, Thelma Nesbitt, and my grandfather, William Nesbitt. My grandmother, she passed away when I was 14 years old. And I've always said, I wish I would have known my grandmother as an adult. I feel this connection with her, even to this day. And it's one of acceptance. always feeling proud. And I can remember when I was younger, she told me I was her favorite grandchild. My grandfather, I never met him because he passed away before I was even born. My father doesn't talk about him very much, so I don't feel like there was a good experience there. However, my father never taught poorly of him to me, and I respect that. I'm not sure where my father learned to be a man, a stand-up man, but that's something definitely I've learned from my own father. All right, so in case you're wondering, the clean and chemical-free candles we only carry in our studio, they are from one of our proud sponsors, Modern Origins. When was the last time you truly paused? Not to scroll or plan, but just to breathe. At Modern Origins, they truly believe small rituals can make a big difference for your mind and your spirit. The handcrafted intention candles, bath soaks, and wax melts are made with clean ingredients, essential oils, and crystals designed to help you reconnect, release stress, and create moments of calm in your day. They're absolutely perfect for soaking in the bathtub after a trying day, having a quiet moment in meditation, journaling through a breakthrough, and even while watching our podcasts. Modern Origins helps you turn self-care into something sacred. Visit modernoriginsus.com to build your ritual and get 15% off your first order with code CALM15. That's CALM15. modernoriginsus.com, because your healing deserves intention.
Bagay mamam, bagay papa, marasa elu, elu ubano force, elu ubano pouvoir, elu marasa elu Dayo, naprele dayo, Haiti yo. Dayo, naprele dayo, Haiti yo.
Women, yes, we are very strong. However, men are equally valued and strong. And if they don't feel valued, they should understand that these systems at play that have had a head start before we knew what was going on have interfered with their true intention and nature. Men are the protectors, our strength. They are one of the biggest keys to our success as a race of people. And I am very thankful for all the men in my life, my dad, my brothers, my cousins, and making sure that not only do I feel protected, but the people around us, our communities, feel protected with knowledge. Strength comes in many forms. It doesn't just have to be what you do with your body. It can be how you respond to something stressful or don't. So that leadership quality that I feel is important to acknowledge within men, I'm very grateful for it. And I want you, and of course, Chris, to know that both of you are equally valued, loved, and respected.
I'd like to add to one thing we always are operating out of a European sort of Eurocentric paradigm. And in Egypt, the matriarchal system was male and female. It
matrifocal.
Right. And so what I see from you, and I always say that this about you, is that you are divinely masculine. You are the divine
Like, what would
masculine.
that look like? Man in the white clothes.
You are divine masculine. And we always talk about toxic masculinity.
Yeah. But what's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Or even the balance towards that, right? Because it's all plane, right? It's all one. It's just depending on what plane you are. This is the law of I don't know.
Physics,
There's a law.
attraction. Yes, all of it.
There's a law. I forget. There's a specific law, though. Like, we're all on the same plane. It just depends on what scale you are. And you are divinely masculine.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
And feminine, too.
Yeah.
You know,
You
I
have to have
embrace
equal parts.
both.
I agree.
And we
know.
need each
I'm
other.
gonna call that scale top tier.
And not ashamed of it,
Exactly what you
actually.
exemplify.
Actually.
Yeah, I agree.
that part. Yeah, that's exactly what you exemplify. Just
Yeah.
top tier
Value of
everything
both
that you
energies.
do.
Yeah.
And even how you engage with us, interact with us, talk with us,
Mhm.
include us, see us.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be a part of this, but also to be a part of your life.
That part.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
That's why we doing this.
Well, some people. So Rob and I went to school together.
Yeah.
But after we graduated, we were able to connect. I think we connected through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so the
That's so
rest is
dope.
like history.
Yeah.
I feel like I've known Rob forever.
Yep, that's how
It's a soul connection. I
it's
always say
definitely a
that.
past life connection.
Even with us, like we
Yeah.
went to
I
school.
promise
We're in
you.
class, and I'm like, what? Let me find out, cuz.
Yeah.
That
And
part.
and all connected through spirituality.
Yeah.
Yes, and
That's
our
how-
Creole, French,
Yeah.
Yeah.
African ancestors.
And this
Yeah.
is my sister from another mother.
Yes.
Just,
Yeah.
like even just introducing us, and it's just the energy, right?
Definitely.
We went to school together. It
Yes.
was just like, how did we all got like this was
It was supposed to happen.
intervention, the way that it was supposed to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what brought us here together.
Yeah.
I'm choosing constant being grounded, just being present, building a connection to people, building a connection to source. I still work, I still build, but not from fear of scarcity. I move from alignment and not from like a sense of urgency. And in many ways, my healing work that I do personally and professionally is about transforming survival into sovereignty. That's how I honor my ancestors, by evolving what they carried so I don't have to pass it forward unchanged.
When you're going towards your goal, you'll get some, crooked paths. You'll get some bumps on the road.
Yeah.
And you still got to keep on going, because we all have a divine assignment. We have a divine assignment.
Yeah. And if you don't know what that is, understand each season of your life might bring different challenges, and you're still on the path, going through it anyway. Push through anyway. Ask for help. We're not designed to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be in community. We're supposed to be in connection. Partnerships are important. Collaborations are important.
That's certainly resonating with me when you say that. Especially, I'm going to speak from my perspective, but also as from a Black woman perspective.
Come on.
And so it took me a long time to realize that I could ask for help,
Yeah.
and that I needed to ask for help. And I used to say, like, I would suffer in silence and by myself.
It's conditioned.
Right? Because that's what I saw.
Yep.
And that's what I learned it was supposed to look like. And so with that, when you say that, it's just like it immediately grabbed me and tugged at me, because a lot of times we just don't do it, right? Like that strong Black woman schema of
We
wearing
dispelling that
cape,
right now.
Like absolutely.
Hold on.
We're the disruptors. We have to disrupt. I am a doctor of social work, and I'm also a licensed clinical social worker. And so I just wanted to share with you briefly why this was important for me to be here on this podcast. Many of us have beliefs that have shaped us, sustained us, and even silenced us. And so I believe that this podcast is important because it opens up the conversation to talk about all of those things. I don't want to be everything that everybody all the time, nor do I want to be.
Facts.
At all.
Yeah.
I'm always team
That
burn
part.
it down. Burn it down, and
Yeah.
let's start over in
Yeah.
creation of what we,
Yeah.
in a reflection of what we believe our world should look like for us. We can't control what happened necessarily in the past. We can learn from it, Sankofa is one of my favorite concepts. It's an Adinkra concept. Adinkra is a culture within Africa. If you're not familiar, I know you guys. But the concept of Sankofa means go back to get to it. And it's usually depicted two ways. The first way is a bird moving forward with its head backwards and down, carrying a sacred egg. So the body is moving forward. The head and the egg are down because it's carrying that knowledge, the understanding that we are equally in the past and the present at the same time. If we try to forget or act like we don't know or act like we don't understand the lessons that happened in the past, you're going to continue to create the same energetic presence in the future, unknowingly sometimes. So making conscious choices to understand who your ancestors were, what laws were in place during their time frame, where in the world did they live, what were the strengths and stressors in their lifetime, whether you agree if it was a strength or stressor or not, understanding it from that perspective, it all boils down to understanding you.
Mhm.
So when you now are in your body in this timeline, understanding where you fit in, what are some of those goals, some of those assignments that we've inherited that we're carrying out?
That's not ours.
That's not always ours, but sometimes it is.
I don't know about all that, but yeah.
I'm not saying let's repeat patterns of dysfunction. Like you said, we're the disruptors. But if we now are aware of dysfunction, you have two choices: to do nothing and do what it's always been done, or you can move forward and make different choices. You may not be loved for it. You may not be welcomed, or you may even be ostracized for it. But understanding it's for a purpose. The people coming from you, and even, I'm not even just talking about our lineage now. I'm talking about like building out our community. I consider us all family, regardless of what the DNA says. Learning from one another, learning the generations, building our community, it comes sometimes from those disruptors.
Yeah.
Sometimes it only takes one person to change that path
Yeah.
that you can reflect on and be like, wow, well, what was what did they do differently? Why did they wind up all the way over here?
Yeah, so interesting because before we started filming, we were talking about a certain situation that I was sharing. But one of the things that is also coming up and resonating when you say that is that it took me a long time to get here, but I'm gonna call a thing a thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that goes back to being silent,
Yeah.
carrying things, not just, holding on to them in our bodies, but in our minds and in our spirits. It's not even mine to
Absolutely.
carry. But I was told, I was taught, I was conditioned, I was raised that way.
Yep.
Not
Mhm.
because they wanted to be harmful, but it's just what we did.
Yes.
Their mothers did it, their mothers did it, their mothers' mothers did it.
Absolutely.
Right? And so as I got older, I was like, so nobody's going to say anything about this and how harmful that could be or how that's impacting me. I didn't have the
Mhm.
words. I didn't have the language.
Yeah.
I didn't know, right? So I don't know what I don't know until I do. And now that I do, I can't unsee it. I can't.
You cannot unsee it, but
Right.
now you have a choice to
That
make.
part
What are you going to
that
do?
is
Mhm.
being able to disrupt that toxic thought pattern
Yep.
of you got to hold on to it.
Yep.
Let that
Say nothing,
toxicity
right?
go.
Also going back
And the
to-
dysfunction, that pattern of dysfunction that no longer serves
Yeah.
your generation.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I believe we were talking about Dr. Joy DeGruy maybe a month ago. I love her post-traumatic slave syndrome paradigm because, yes, a lot of the things that we have done, and when I say the collective we, that we know are very dysfunctional, served a purpose in those spaces in time.
Yeah.
But as we move forward, understanding where we are, what we're doing, what our mission is, that's why I'm always team reflect. Team reflect, take some time, rejuvenate, meditate, pray. Have people around you that are going to tell you the truth no matter what.
Mhm.
Truth isn't always comfortable. It's not always cushy.
I was just going to say, I don't want to be remiss, and I do want to acknowledge what you said about it serving a purpose,
Yeah.
right? Like that silence, if you will, and holding on to it. Because if I am boisterous, if I say the thing
Yep.
out loud,
Now
what's
you're the
cost?
target.
But what's right? There's a
Yep.
cost to that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm experiencing that now.
On so many different levels that cost could be. The
Mhm.
fact that I would be, elevating my voice in some way.
Yeah.
And I don't mean screaming and yelling. I mean, I'm going to say something.
Right.
But if I do that, there's going to be a cost to that.
Absolutely.
Do I pay the cost? Do other people pay the cost? Do we all pay the cost? Like, what happens, right? So I do recognize that every behavior serves a purpose, good,
It
bad, or
does.
indifferent. And so I do recognize that, that there was maybe a time where they needed to do that. And I'm realizing that I'm not in that.
Yes, you are no longer in
I'm
that
not in that
time.
time, and it's okay. And I can mean what I say and not be mean when I say it. But I also understand that, not saying anything, I become complicit in what's happening or not happening.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And then there is a cost. And so when I think about the roots, right, of what I've seen, heard, experienced, and my own mental health and how that, merges together,
Mhm.
how does that impact me? How does it impact the people around me?
Yes.
Right? And again, mind, body, spirit, all of that goes together when I am, just sort of sitting in it. And there's a part of me, and I don't know, maybe it's personality, maybe it's because I'm a Sag all the way strong.
I love that.
Honorary
But,
Aries.
yeah, I'm just
Aw.
saying,
What's your moon sign, girl?
but that part of me is just, and a fire sign at that.
Oof.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's like, I'm not willing to make myself uncomfortable for the comfortability of somebody else.
Mhm.
I want to be on the right side of it, and I
Yes.
want to be able to have healthy conversation. And that's something that I didn't know how to do because nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
No
Nobody was
one
having
was
con-
brave enough.
Yeah.
And then breaking
I
that
feel
cycle.
like there
That's
were
right.
people
Yeah.
doing
That's
it,
right.
but they were
Mhm.
they were shunned. The
Well, I'm
one
gonna
thing
say
that
from
I
my
learned,
experience in
yeah,
growing up, I never saw any kind. It was just you just shut it down. You didn't say nothing. You kept it moving.
yeah,
Now, as a kid growing up, I would see it, and I knew there was something that was wrong with it, but I can't say nothing. Not if I
Yeah.
want to keep the lips attached to my face.
I know that's
I can't say,
right.
right? So then, so I'm growing up thinking, is this the way that it's supposed to be?
Mhm.
Until there was a part of me that finally realized, no, it's not.
Mhm.
This ain't normal.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Usually the family they call the black sheep or disruptors are usually put out. And then I feel like that's in any system. Even if you look in religious organizations, those who question, those who are trying to be more understanding of the bigger picture and don't just follow blindly, typically are put out. Or if you want to explore or understand where do you fit in, and then putting some boundaries in place. I've seen it through, I primarily work with Black women in my practice. And even before that, I was client one. I mean, let's be real. I feel like if you're going to do this work,
Oh,
you have to do
definitely.
the work.
We have to go through therapy. I
Yeah.
mean, I've had
All
4
right.
therapists before I even thought about being a therapist. Like, who the hell am
Facts,
I?
man.
I feel like that should be a requirement
It
when you go to
has to
school.
be. How you going to
Yeah.
heal somebody
Right?
else if you're not here?
Good supervision.
Yes, man.
Whether it's individual or group, right?
Yeah.
Therapy.
Requirement.
Yes, a requirement.
For everybody.
Absolutely.
For balance. But
Yeah.
I know there are many folks who don't because
Be
they're
in therapy,
scared.
like, this shit is wild to me. Like,
Yeah.
hello? I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to be able to have space and be vulnerable
Mhm.
enough. We want people to be vulnerable with us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we got to be willing to do it too. And go into
Absolutely.
the space and be like, I don't even know what happened or what's going on with me or how I even got here.
I need someone who's trauma informed,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
who
Yes.
looks like me.
Mhm.
First, like second of all, right? Should be first of all, actually.
Yeah.
But trauma informed is very important for me. All the things that I've gone through
Mm-hmm.
because of what I look like and how I act.
Yeah.
Right? Not feeling different,
Mm.
but learning that I was always okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
And there was something wrong with them and the
Yes.
system.
The community is sick.
Yeah. Because I exist. I've always been enough. but society has taught me differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want people who are watching this to know that truth for them as well.
It's okay, right? It's okay to say, I want
It's
somebody
okay.
who looks like me.
Yeah.
In looking for a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to say that.
Yeah.
For me, it's not just look like me. Culture matters. I've always been very sensitive to culture because I come from a different culture than just regular African American. I'm Creole. I was raised Creole.
Mhm.
And those of you who don't know what Creole is, I'm talking about specifically Louisiana Creole.
Mhm.
So there are many elements of what we do. One of the beauties is having inherited gifts and traditions that have definitely come from our African ancestors,
Mhm.
but then equal parts of the colonized traditions. And then having to sift through how did my family and my community manage that duality. So understanding, for me anyway, that I have a different lens when it comes to what we are capable of had a big impact on me. Because when I was like my earlier years, I knew we came from greatness. I've always seen it. That's one of the things that connected me to Rob, because it's very rare that you could say you're a fourth generation and educated person.
Right.
Unfortunately. But then when we think about what is education, are we looking at this from a Eurocentric perspective? We were the original scientists of all things. You get inoculated from something that came from us.
Mhm.
Engineering came from us. I recently took my kids on a trip to see one of the first settlements, free Black settlements in Virginia.
Mhm.
And they had no nails, but their gates were still standing. Somebody had to think of what angles can we put these huge wooden planks together in,
Mhm.
and they're going to stand still and stay together and not just one good wind and it knock down.
Mhm.
That takes a lot of thinking, engineering. We did that.
Mhm.
We're brilliant. And I've always known that. So that lens for me is cultural. It's important. If someone that I'm working with, I mean, as a person who's on the other side of the couch, right? And not as a therapist, as a person who needs the support, doesn't have that lens, they have they've internalized their racism. That impacts the therapy. So that's why for me, doing the work is important, because we are so inundated with racism in every form. Medical, education, heck, breathing costs us some money sometimes, right? Costs us something when it comes to our esteem needs. So for me, it's more than just them looking like me. I need to know
when I
that
say
they've done the
though,
work.
I mean
It's
that
more of understanding the struggle.
Yeah.
right.
Like,
That's
I don't
what I mean
know-
by that. I don't mean phenotypically.
I don't
Yeah.
think
We're not a monolith. That's
we're
obvious.
definitely not a
And
monolith.
Right.
even people who come from my same culture won't understand me.
Facts. Not all
Yeah.
people, skin folk. What is it? Not all skin folk or kinfolk. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Or not all kinfolk. Well, you know what I mean.
But it helps, right? Because,
Yeah.
like I said, I had 4 therapists. 3 were white,
Mm-hmm.
1 was Black. The only one that really resonated with me was one who was African American.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I have Creole in my family too, but was that voluntarily? No.
Right.
That part
It wasn't. It was just because of some trauma.
Keep it real.
there's
It's
that
not
too.
because, like, oh, this white man fell in love with,
But
my
Creole is more than
great-great-great-grandmother.
just that.
But this is how it appears
Yeah.
in my family. Every family is different.
Definitely.
I don't know what your story is, but I have to speak for myself.
Right.
But I need someone to understand
Right.
the struggle and the bullshit
Really
Right.
see you.
that we've been through.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
We are here because of it was involuntary. We didn't choose to
No.
come here from West Africa to
Right.
Louisiana.
Right.
That's
Definitely
not the
not.
story.
Right.
It's not a love story there,
That-
basically.
That part.
Do you understand that, therapist?
Yeah.
Right. So I was just going to say.
And why I'm dealing with all this bullshit here?
Right.
Facts.
Right. Because
But some of them don't. Some of them don't.
And they don't have to.
Some of
But I need to have less of a conversation.
Yes.
Like you and I, if you were my therapist,
Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah.
All of us here.
Because you don't have to explain
I
it.
don't have to explain nothing.
Yeah. Let me tell you what it is. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not about to teach you.
Right. And it's not to shame anybody who's not.
Yeah.
Because I have many people of many colors who
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
my clients.
Yeah.
But I don't understand thoroughly. So they educate me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want to be educated.
Right.
No.
Right. And they think some
And
people
that's,
know
that's
know.
real.
They've
And that's how you
drinking
know
the
it's
Kool-Aid of
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
supremacy. And that is what I'm
Right.
talking about.
Right.
Right.
They've drinking the Kool-Aid of
Yeah.
white supremacy. So they
Right.
have incorporated the laws that so be with the white folks into their mind so much in education system that you can say, hey, I think I'm being targeted at work.
Yeah.
I think I'm being targeted at work.
Mhm.
I think that something is going on here that's more than just surface level. And if the person does not understand because they have internalized racism,
Mhm.
and I've seen it with my own eyes, unfortunately, they will invalidate. So for me, culture matters. I
Absolutely.
need them to be
They'll
2 feet
CBT
in.
you.
2 feet in.
Right.
We ain't just brown together.
Yeah.
Right.
And so just really quick, I want to there's a couple of so many points that we just made, so I just want to kind of highlight certain things. First off, if you're going to say, well, are you sure you've experienced that? You're not being there for that people, that
Right?
person.
But
You're not being there.
so many people do it, girl. It's crazy.
Like, are you sure that's what you heard? Yo, that's called gaslighting.
It
Don't talk
is.
to that person no more. To your point, too, where we talked about the silencing of Black women,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So for you who's listening to us right now, if people make you feel like you crazy in this Donald Trump orange world,
Not orange.
you're not
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
No.
We all see this craziness. It's not normal.
No.
Let that toxicity go.
However, the stuff that we are seeing now was always there. Let's be real. It didn't just start.
But it comes back to
when
what I
Donald
said
Trump got
earlier.
And it'll
here.
be here
Call
for a
the
while.
thing a thing.
Yes.
Time
have
to
to
call
call
it.
a thing a thing.
It
We
was
have to-
always there.
You know, like how when we're working with clients and we're talking about feelings identification, like you got to,
Yeah.
if you can name it, then you can do something.
What is your why?
My why is that I was saying earlier, when I think about my culture, experiences, background, just inherently the way that I was raised, there was a lot of silencing.
Mm.
There were a lot of what I understand now to be, mental health challenges that come from that background experiences and culture, right? And so they were intersecting, but no one was talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, in my positionality and having better understanding and language to go with those things and to proactively and be intentionally do something about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? As a doctor of social work, as a licensed clinical social worker, as a Black woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a cousin, as all of the things that I am, and be able to connect those things and give people language, right? Let them know that there can be intentionality in how they show up and what they want to see and how they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had that. And again, not because my family didn't want me to have that. I 1000% believe that they did. They just didn't know how.
Mm.
And we don't know what we don't know until we do. And like I said, I know it now, so I can't unsee it. I can't not hear it. I can't not be proactive in a way that lifts up my culture, right? And the profession. And so that's my why. And I don't think that we talk enough about the whys, why we're here, how we're showing up in spaces, how we're engaging with people. For me, that's really important because I never had that. I got bits and pieces as I grew up, but now I'm being really intentional about the people that I'm surrounding myself. Like-minded people that will grow me, people that will support me, people that will edify me. people that see me, people that validate me and acknowledge me. And all of those things are so very important. And I want to be able to do that for people as well. So this is one of the reasons, many of the reasons why this is really important. And to grow and learn with you all as well too. Because every time we're together, yes, it's a time, but I'm also walking out different than how I came in. You guys are always dropping some sort of wisdom and gems, love and support. It's always a great time, but I also am able to get some gems from you all. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, what came up for me for sure was my thought was you're a good role model. You are too. Both of you. I'm very blessed to have women that have walked some a little few steps before, not much more, because I'm not that much younger than you guys, but enough that I can see the strength in both of your wisdoms. And the fact that you guys have different, you have similar frameworks, but you also have different worldviews at the same time. It really is a blessing. I couldn't even pray for this because I didn't even know I needed it.
Sorry, one other thing I do want to say is that this is the first time that I'm ever doing a podcast. And so if I had to be doing it with y'all is amazing and awesome. As I think about growth, this is these are my growing edges right here.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm not the person that's like first in line to be like, let me go jump on this podcast. Or I don't even do videos, right? I don't even do social media. No, right?
You do it now?
No.
Dang, girl.
I'm not there.
I'm about to make one for her.
So I'm saying, like, this is what I mean by growth, right? Like, and the more I do it, the more comfortable I get, more confident I get, but this is a growing edge. And, being pushed in a way to be, in more of the greatness that I know I'm destined to have is amazing. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So thank you. And I have to say, Kiz knows I love her, but I do appreciate your energy as a young person who's like, I'll be looking at you like, how you dancing and having kids and doing this and doctorate and license. And I'm like, wow. It reminds me of I used to be like that back in the days.
Probably still are. I've been seeing your videos, girl. She literally, I was like, yo, right now she is in her namesake, looking like a full angel.
Oh.
Full angel. A couple days ago, I was so happy. I showed my daughter everything. I was like, do you see Miss Martine? She looks so beautiful. She sounds beautiful. I was seriously fangirling.
Appreciate
That's
that.
the angel of New York right there.
She is so gorgeous. I'm not just talking about your aesthetics. I'm literally talking about your whole energy biofield, girl.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
Thank you for seeing that. I appreciate that.
What's
I
your
long
why,
for that.
Martine?
Yeah. My why is based on, I think, feeling like an angel, on earth. Not, I have Earth Angel here. Not only just angel often is seen as being this little cherubim with but really angel means messenger. The Real Roots and Resilience podcast is to bridge for me between generations, sharing the message from one generation to another, between wisdom. And as we become, yes, we're not a monolith, but we are a people that has a shared history, of where we've been and where we're going. As people live in our diaspora, our stories, each story from the diaspora matters. We have to remember our history matters, and there needs to be this history told in our way, not people telling us about our history, because, the lion will always say he won. So I also think that it's really important for us to really continue telling our stories, whether it's in song, podcasts, artists, genealogists, history, because there is a generational gap that needs tending to. And we need to tend to this generational gap, not with blame, but with conversation. conversation we're having. This podcast exists to create a space for honest storytelling, critical reflection, because a lot of reflection these days are not so critical,
Mm.
and shared learning. It's a place where we can listen to one another and we can respect each other like we just did, and name intergenerational truths, intergenerational traumas, and allowing a space to heal. And so, Real Roots and Resilience is about unity without erasure, truth without fear, and conversations that help us remember who we are together.
Mhm. How about you, Janelle?
So mine starts off as a story with younger Janelle in history class in El Paso, Texas. They make you take history for the foundation of your bachelor's degrees, and it's their history, not ours. And I remember sitting in class, and the professor is just going on and on about how terrible the Great Depression was. And pictures of people in these lines to get public assistance, and just really just driving it home with how unfortunate it was for so many people who were starving and destitute. So my thoughts in my head literally went from I don't I don't see any of my family members represented in any of these pictures or stories. So, in true Janelle fashion, not disrespectfully, but I asked, where are the Black people? Where are the Black people? Where are they? I don't see anyone in this picture that even looks a little brown. So he said he honestly doesn't know. So I didn't shame the professor for that, obviously, because I want to be respectful and I get it. You don't know what you don't know. But I wanted to know, where were my family members when this was happening? What were they doing? If it was really bad for white people, what in the world was going on with us?
Mhm.
So it led me, and this is in 2008, it led me to start by asking my dad and my mom, hey, I know Mama and they were around during that time. Do they tell you any stories about what's happening during that time for them when the Great Depression exists? And my parents really actually didn't know. So I have an aunt who's really very gifted in storytelling, and is she's I say I'm the her of my generation because she loves connecting folks and asking questions and getting the roots of what has happened in the stories. So she's like, Jen, my family calls me Jenny. I don't know either, but I know who will, Uncle Johnny. So she starts, who my dad was named for. So she starts asking and connecting me by three ways. That's how long it was, right? To the different these are my great great uncles. So they can give me the stories of what it was like then. Now, mind you, they were all in rural areas like Mississippi and certain parts of Louisiana. And even the people who lived in Louisiana at the time lived a different lifestyle. So racism, from what I learned, almost unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because racism is never good, but it worked in our favor. We were never privileged to any of those things that those folks were disenfranchised from to begin with. So we had to operate differently because those they weren't formal social services, but they were enough that the people can get into the little lines and get their little soup kitchen on. We didn't have access to that. We had to operate in community.
Mm.
So what I learned was because of the racism and us being excluded from those social benefits, I'm going to call it that, we had to create our own everything. So when the stock market crashed, we weren't allowed to have bank accounts anyway.
Mhm.
We were having to just operate like we always do, in conjunction with each other. If I have too much, that means someone doesn't have enough. What you have We're going to share what I have, I'm going to share with you. So I learned so much. It took me a couple of months to get all those stories and then collectively synthesize in my mind, well, what does that mean? So that for me was the catalyst to wanting to understand more. Hey, I noticed that my parents are functioning this way. Why? I have access to these people now. I'm going to ask all the questions. So now finagling, because you guys know, I'm sure, the elders don't like to talk that much sometimes. They will go to the grave with some of these stories if you let them.
True.
So I had to cultivate skills to be able to gain their trust to get those stories. And I mean it when I say skills. Relationships are my thing. It's really important. And being able to have those stories was a blessing. And I know for a fact that is what I was here to do. So my why is not just extracting the truth in those stories generationally, even in real time now. We're living through some times, y'all.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're living through some times. Not holding those stories and selfishly saying, well, what does this mean for me? What am I learning that I can help support and pass on? How can I help my community, my family, my kids? How can we plan ahead? Because our survival sometimes really depends on what's happened in the past. And learning, what is it manifesting in this period of time that I'm in now? How does this show up now? And what can we do futuristically to help support our community to thrive? So that is my why.
Thank you. Chris, how about you?
So my personal why has a lot to do with who my ancestors were and the memory of them. So as a genealogist, a lot of the work that I do is at the intersection of past and present. And so we look at and examine the memory of our ancestors through lenses that seek to humanize them, because historically, records have always identified our ancestors, our enslaved ancestors, through transactions that denotate property and the migration of property and the lived experience of property. And so, through my why of being a historian and a genealogist, these conversations are deeply intersected with mental health conversations, because we have to think about what it means to be in a state or condition of servitude and slavery. And unlike anywhere else on the planet, in America and Brazil and the Caribbeans and all these other places, African Americans or Africans in the diaspora, and the descendants of those, original communities were put through so many different tests of the spirit, the body, and the mind. And so, as we consider um, the the intergenerational memory of those experiences and the lingering effects of those experiences on our communities, we have to reckon with how we are carrying it all. Are we still carrying the weight of it without even knowing how our ancestors, resilience shaped our identity today? Do we know their stories? Do we want to know them? Is it too painful to look into the past? And can we be liberated in the freedom of knowing who they were, what they went through, and how we want to carry their truths to the present, and really demand justice for what they should have gotten in their lifetimes? So part of my why is at the intersection of reparative justice, because me as their descendant have a unique opportunity in an environment, in a system, or I'll say it like this, an environment or a marketplace of intellectual thought they didn't really have the benefit of experiencing. To say that today Black people have been president, have been governor, have been mayor, would have never been a conversation in their lifetime. So as we have conversations around opportunities and pathways to freedom financially, and how we build generational wealth, and all these different things are really predicated on how well we understand their stories and what we deserve as their descendants. So, and moreover, when we think about generational wealth, I'm not just talking about monetary. I'm talking about what it literally means to go and get all of the records that identify them in their lived experiences. Um, I'm the I'm the genetic genealogy program director for Descendants United, which was previously GU 272 Descendants Association. And part of the work that I do is sending people to go and get and reclaim their ancestors' historical documentation. And so, in that same spirit of Sankofa, the going back and getting, we are sending people to go and retrieve the memory of their ancestors. And that is powerful. Oftentimes, governments and institutions have been custodians of our records. And I'm inviting us as a people to go and retain custody of the records that humanize our ancestors. Because we shouldn't have to go and consult a government agency to seek the documentation that identifies our ancestors as human beings and a part of vital events in this country's history. So in these conversations, I hope that you feel encouraged to go and get your ancestors' records, to go and learn more about their stories, and most importantly, to tell yours before it's too late. So, as we have these conversations, I want to encourage you to think about telling your own story, thinking about how you want to be remembered, because in generations from now, your descendants will be asking, oh, who was my great grandmother? Who was my great grandfather? And what impact did they have on the communities that they were part of? And that's my why.
I can say for myself, my why started when my daughters were born.
Aw.
Yeah. Prior to that, I felt kind of lost, right? I did. Yeah. So didn't really always feel accepted in this world that we live in, and took a lot of therapy, a lot of spiritual guidance, and I didn't want that for the next generation. Silence is what I learned growing up. We don't talk about those things. It's taboo. Ooh, you better not do that. Or you better not tell people that. Or you better not act like that. I didn't want that for them. I wanted them to understand where they came from. And to your point, Janelle, like, we didn't learn that in school. What we learned was shame. What we learned was slavery and that we didn't deserve. And so I wanted to figure out, well, what part of Africa am I from? And then this great thing of 23andMe came out. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I had friends that did it and it was like, oh, I'm from Ghana. I'm from, West Africa in this specific region and blah, blah, blah. So I wanted that for myself. Then I got my mom to do it. I got my dad to do it, my sister. And then I wanted this for my kids so they can understand where they came from. Who are we if we don't know where we came from? How can we truly formally have an identity if we don't know where we're from? And that's my why. So hopefully we can inspire people to figure out who you are and be proud of that. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Stand grounded and rooted in who you are. Because guess what? We're worthy because we exist. And I wasn't taught that. And I basically live that, and I'm living that, and I need to surround myself with people who know that. And I want to inspire my family, people who are watching, and anybody else after that. So I'm truly excited to just expose anybody who feels shame or ever felt shame and understand that this is a systemic problem, and it's not an individual problem. It's not your problem. You were never the problem. It's the system that's the problem. And I want to expose that. And
We are the disruptors.
exactly.
Facts.
Exactly.
Burn it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebuild.
But that's the theme.
And our image.
Yeah.
That is being able to disrupt those narratives. It's like, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, what we're not going to do is go on with that lie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Martine, how are you feeling, and what exactly is your why?
What is my why? It sounds like it's a combination of everything that everybody talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It is the miseducation, right? That we talk that was written about. It's the generational healing that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It is the honoring of the present, as you're talking about. My why is rooted in what can make us resilient to survive these times, and then not even just survive, but thrive. And healing can only happen in community.
Yeah.
And so my why is to create a community online. Hopefully we'll meet each other in person, so that we can heal together without shame, without judgment, without gaslighting. And sometimes we just need to be like, what is happening here? Because when you don't have a contextual framework to work from, the image is not there yet. And so Real Roots and Resilience is a space where we can come as a community and heal together.
Yay. Love that.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what that made me think of when you were saying that?
Sorry. I don't know why I wanted to love you.
Yes, because that's my frequency is dancing. I like singing too, but dancing is it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about context and causes.
Can you tell me more about that, love?
All right,
Context and
Dr.
causes,
Shula.
Yeah. So we all have, as Black people in this space, there are commonalities, but there are also differences. And so when we think about both, there are contexts and causes. As I was listening to Rob and listening to you again about your why, things come up. Experiences as we're growing up as kiddos impact us. Context. The causes of those impacts and how we're showing up. And sometimes, we may not realize we're showing up in certain ways because of certain things that have happened to us and that we carry through. And it's just like, well, that's just who I am or what I do or how I do it, right? But when you go back to the why, there's context and there's cause.
Yeah.
And so we got to be intentional about that why and say the thing out loud. Going back to shame, right? Saying the thing out loud helps us to think about, okay, so now that I have this information and I have this context and this cause, what's my responsibility now?
Yeah.
It's good.
What's my responsibility?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it?
Because we're socialized, right? We're socialized beings. And so socialization oftentimes is, especially in a Eurocentric world, programs us to be a certain way. Are we going to live out a program of somebody else? Or are we going to do what you're just saying? Context. And cause. We're going to dig that so we can be the definition and be our own program and design our own program for our lives.
That made me think about the story I was sharing earlier, that, right, context and cause. Right? Well, that's why she a crash out. You understand what I'm saying? Context and cause. That part. But again, there's intentionality about understanding, not just because growing up, I was just like, what is wrong with this person, right? And trauma-informed care tells us to think about it differently. Not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. And remember, no one was there to protect. No one was there to say, hold on, this is wrong. Right? No one was there to do that. And so what happens? The cause, I'm a crash out.
Yeah.
And everybody gonna get it. I'm raising hell everywhere I go.
Because before, nobody protected me.
That part.
So I'm going to protect myself now.
That part.
Absolutely.
And be looking crazy out here while I do it. And that's what people will say. No one sees the underbelly of how it got there.
Or they see it, they just don't want to be held accountable for
That
it.
part too. That part too.
Oh my gosh.
Because nobody showed up. No, everybody was just, hey, I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if I see it, then I have to do something about it.
And if I don't do something about it, what does it say about you?
That's exactly right. That part.